heal your body all by yourself. In fact, you can heal everything about your body. Recently went out and got Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body, okay? And in her book, it lists every physical ailment you could possibly have or disease, and it lists the probable cause of the disease, which is important. I'll go into that in a minute. But it also gives you a new thought pattern or something to add to your daily meditation that will release the problem and help you overcome that disease. So when I first discovered Louise Hay's book, I thought, I need proof. I need proof of a lot of things. This is not making any sense to me. So, her basic philosophy is your body's a messenger, simply a messenger for spirit to communicate with you through. And your body goes through so many things that you put it through, basically, because of your diet or exercise or lack of exercise or whatever is happening with your body, stress-wise, things like that. I started looking at everything that I put my body through, and I started looking at the healing book, and I started researching everything that's ever been wrong with me, because I'm 59, and back when I was in my 20s, I was on every medication known to man. I had a great relationship with my doctor. I went to see him every time anything was wrong with me. Wow, I wasn't doing it right. So I looked at every physical ailment that I had, and I went through the book. And wow, I thought back to everything that was going on in my life at that time. And look, I won't bore you with the long list of shit that was wrong with me, but basically, I just didn't realize how much I was not taking care of myself. So now, fast forward, I'm in my 50s, and I have no health problems. I'm remarkably healthy, and I thank God every day for that health. But, I can't just look at my body to prove this. I looked at world leaders. I looked at what was going on during World War II. I looked at world leaders from World War II. You had Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR. He had polio. He was the American president. Polio. The probable cause of polio is desperately trying to stop someone. Who was he trying to stop? Japan? Was he trying to stop, Hitler from taking over Germany? Who knows? Let's talk about Hitler with his Parkinson's disease, an intense desire to control everything and everyone. And if that doesn't resonate, I don't know what does. John F. Kennedy with his back problems, taking on too much weight in life. And in her healing book, the back problems, they're very specific. Every tiny region of your back, if you're suffering from something there, she gives you the possible or the probable cause, and then the new thought pattern that you can add to your meditations to heal that every day. Now, once I kind of proved all this to myself, I thought, okay, let's give it a shot. And among many things, I started to have a little bit of a shoulder problem. At my age, you get out of bed every day and you got something new creaking and cracking, but when stuff lingers for a week, 10 days perhaps, you start really looking at it and saying, okay, I started looking at it. What was my problem? I tweaked my shoulder. Well, I don't remember any specific incident, if I was at the gym or playing golf or whatever, because that's pretty much all I do. I don't work anymore. I don't know what I did. Nothing ever said, oh, ow, I just threw that ball and it hurt my shoulder. I can pinpoint injuries like that. You know your body, and you know how things happen. But I couldn't figure out what had happened. It just started hurting in the middle of the night one night, and 10 days later, I still kind of had it. So I looked it up. Shoulders and shoulder problems. It represents my ability to carry experiences in life joyously. So what was happening during that time in my life? Well, I live at a beautiful golf and country club. I play golf 3 days a week, and I love it. But it's wintertime. The golf course isn't as green as it used to be. It's not as beautiful to look at. It's cold. I don't really particularly like playing in the wintertime, but it's okay. And, you know, one day I was just standing out on the fairway thinking, I could be doing so many better things. Sitting in front of my space heater at home or this or that. And then I said to myself, well, this is the problem. You know, I live in Florida. I'm on a beautiful golf course. I'm playing golf. I'm with 3 pretty cool guys that, you know, enjoy their company. Why am I not enjoying this? And I changed my whole perspective. You know, I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed not to have a job, you know, one of those inconvenient jobs that some of you people have to work. My apologies, man. I'm praying for you. But, you know, I don't have these things. So I sat there and I thought how lucky I am to just be out on the golf course. And within a few days of thinking that, and of course, adding the new thought pattern of I choose to allow all my experiences to be joyous and loving. I added that to my daily meditation, and what do you know? My shoulder problem is gone. So, you know, I don't feel the need to prove it to anybody anymore, but after I kind of proved it to myself, I ran into a couple that I've known for a long time, and I started looking at I started I was interacting with them, and of course they've been married forever. She yells at him. She's very vocal about that. She calls him names. You know, if they go to lunch, she shames him to the waiter. You know, that type of woman. You know, many guys would have been gone years and years ago. But he stayed. I don't know why. I don't understand. But on that day, she was having urinary tract infections. And it was the second time I had heard this in like 3 months. You have another one? Yeah, I got another one. So I couldn't wait to get home to look at the healing book, okay? So urinary infections. Guess what the probable cause is? Pissed off, usually at a member of the opposite sex. Does that describe these two or what? So on the same page, 4 diseases down is varicose veins. This guy has varicose veins in his legs. They're very unsightly. I'd be headed to the vein center to get something done. But varicose veins. What is the probable cause of varicose veins? Standing in a situation you hate. Discouragement. Is that his marriage? You know, I've known the guy for a long time. He used to have a great career in sales, made lots of money, but he got a disease, a rare disease, and he had to stop working. He had to go on disability. He then eventually went back to work, but all he could do was a manual labor job. A entry-level paying job. And perhaps standing in a situation he hates was him standing in that job. I don't know. It's probably both. But I was amazed when I consulted the spiritual book. So what I thought about was, you know, why do we do what we do? Why do we neglect ourselves physically? Well, I know the answer. It's called work and life. You know, it's busy. When you got to work, you got to get to work, man. And if you don't feel like going to work, well, yeah, I get it. You can call off and everything else. But, you know, most people go to work. Most people just soldier through their job and they work. Well, and life. And then you have, you know, family to deal with. You've got drama to deal with. You've got friends to deal with. You got a lot of things. You got a lot of pressure on you in life. So what do we do when we get sick? Well, you know, we let ourselves get sick. We try to get over it ourselves. Sometimes we can. Sometimes we got to go to the doctor. What does the doctor do? He gives us pills. And somehow it goes away until, eventually it kind of comes back. So, how are we supposed to be living? Well, you'd be 100% healthy, and the human design was simply, we were supposed to live forever, but it didn't kind of work out that way. Bacteria got introduced to the earth, and, lots of things went awry. But, we're supposed to stay grounded in nature. Get out of the house every day, put your toes in the sand, put your toes in the grass, be grounded, okay? The Earth's electromagnetic energy is good for you. We're supposed to eat live foods, live vegetables, fruits, things like that. What do we do with the vegetables? We buy them, we cut them up, and we cook the hell out of them. We cook all the best energy out of them. You're supposed to meditate. Does anybody have time to meditate anymore? He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes. We're not supposed to take pills, man. They don't like us putting chemicals in our body. They don't like us taking pills. Pills aren't good for us. Don't throw away your pills. I'm about to go through some disclaimers here in a few minutes, but we're not supposed to have too many chemicals. Be careful of the food you eat. If you're buying organic, great, but hey, sometimes even that's a scam. The only medicine you're supposed to really take, everything that you need to heal your body grows in nature. Okay, we don't need pills. You don't need the doctor. Let's talk about my routine, okay? I've got no job, okay? So I don't have to do that. All I have to do is decide when I'm going to play golf that day, or if I'm going to the pool, or what I'm doing. So when I wake up in the morning, okay, the first hour and 15 minutes to hour and a half is education. I'm a spiritual guy. I read something new every day about spirituality and living and life. Then I spend 20 minutes in meditation. That's when I can even begin to start my day. Now, if you have a job, you can't spend 2 hours, reading and meditating every morning. I couldn't when I worked. In fact, I tried it. I got up earlier, but every day I went to work, it was just clear to me that, this is what's toxic to my body. And if I could just be retired and do my thing, I'll be a lot healthier. So, that's my routine. We're supposed to eat right. I eat right 70% of the time. Believe me, I still have a lot of inner work to do. But this is how we're supposed to be. Do we eat the way we're supposed to eat? No, we eat what's convenient because we got to eat fast, because we got to get back to work because we're busy, or we got to go pick up the kids, or we got to go meet with friends, or whatever. So we don't do it right as human beings. And then when things get out of control, we go to the doctor and we take a pill or we do whatever. But does it really solve the problem? A lot of people, holistic healing and spirituality have gotten a bad rap over the years. I'm thinking of a particular celebrity. He got cancer, and it was an aggressive form of cancer. The cancer drugs weren't working, so he made an announcement he was going holistic and spiritual, and then of course he was dead within a few months. But, when you already have cancer, that's not the time to start looking at the healing book and trying to figure out, how to live your life and fix it. The way to live your life and be healthy is to have that job that gives you that freedom, or to have that job that's not so stressful, or to have that situation that allows you to pay attention to who you are, to pay attention to yourself. And believe me, you can heal yourself. Now, here's my disclaimer to you, okay? Yes, Louise Hay had cancer, and she wrote the book, okay? And she brags in the book that she healed herself eventually. The doctor didn't heal her. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not Jesus of Nazareth who could heal everybody and this, that, and the other thing. However, I do Reiki. I try to help people. If you break your arm, we're going to the hospital. We're going to have the orthopedist, take a look at that. We're going to have him reset it. We're going to have him put a cast on there. I might be able to comfort you in the car by giving you a little bit of Reiki and that healing energy that'll calm you down and maybe help with the pain on the way to the hospital. But we're going to the hospital. You ain't resetting your broken arm by yourself. Don't clear out your medicine cabinet and start throwing everything in the garbage because you watched this video and now you're going to buy Louise Hay's healing book and heal everything. It's not going to work that way. It takes a life change. However, if you make that life change, I've already seen how much healthier I can be. And that life change is so important to everybody. I once had a friend at work. I said, hey, man, you don't look good. You need to get to the doctor. And he had been sick for a while. And, he did. He went to the doctor. And, he came back with a literal tackle box full of pills and medications and everything else. And I said, wow, that's an awful lot. And he started describing everything that was wrong. And I said, all that in one doctor visit? He said, well, my check engine light's been on for 3 years. You can't ignore your check engine light for 3 years. Spirit is trying to talk to you and tell you something and tell you what might be wrong. In fact, if what's wrong with you physically is for karmic reasons, it is said that even Jesus Christ couldn't heal that, because that's spirit trying to say, that's your guides, guardian angels, God, whoever you want to say is talking to you. We're all of the same consciousness, so it doesn't matter who you identify it with. But if you're not listening to your guides and guardian angels when they're trying to communicate with you, that's where illness happens. The closer you move to God, it's called ease. The further away you move from God, it's called dis-ease. Okay? It's a disease for a reason. Now, I choose to believe that Jesus could heal anything. However, it is said that if it was for karmic reasons, he would refuse to heal it. And I believe in that. You know why I believe in that? Because he was, in fact, about the most persecuted man on earth. Can you imagine what he went through if he refused to heal someone? Can you imagine, if he even said, no, you're not worthy of healing because it's for karmic reasons, that person would talk shit about him to the whole village. If he faked it and said, all right, you're healed, and they didn't heal, they would talk shit about him and spread lies about him all through the community. So think about what he went through and people passing judgment on him. But if it's for karmic reasons, it is said that you are the only one who can heal it. And I would just highly recommend that you go out and get Louise Hay's healing book, Heal Your Body. Good luck.